reflected in his son the better, purer parts of his own self, undistilled, untampered.
Dad, how do you spell savior?
Oh, savior, savior. As in Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, Moses.
As in Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln?
Okay, listen to this. Lincoln loved the Negro slaves, and so he set them free. And in following the goodness of his heart, he became the savior.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where did you get that stuff?
From school.
Show it to me. Okay, what do we got? Oh, come on. Jeez.
Dad, you're scaring me.
Here, read this.
I am not, nor have ever been, in favor of bringing about in any way the social and political equality of the white and black races. I am not, nor have ever been, in favor of making quotas or jurors of Negroes. Abraham Lincoln said this?
1858, Charleston. Keep reading.
I have no purpose, directly or indirectly, to interfere with the institution of slavery. I have no inclination to do so.
Lincoln's first inaugural, 1861. History's pretty complicated stuff.
Wow.
That's why it's fun. I think you got a better report in you, Prez.
But it's due on Friday.
Well, I'll help you.
Really? I'll go pop some popcorn.
Hope might be the thing with feathers, but Skylar realized some birds need a little help, and that could be an awful lot of fun. Okay, so finally we come to 1914. To a lot of Americans, especially those that were in the rising middle class, the world seemed to be a place of growing peace and growing prosperity. Because of the technological progress, the world actually seemed perfectible, like we were on the right path. And then, just like the passengers on the Titanic had no idea that they were about to hit that iceberg, America was rudely awakened when the world exploded into the bloodiest and most unnecessary war in history, World War I. Welcome to the 20th century. Now, I want you to read chapter 6, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Listen, can we move through this really, really quickly because I'm late? I've got to go pick up Daniel Ellsberg from the station.
I'm sorry. Did you all hear that? Professor Haskell has to pick up Daniel Ellsberg from the station because her good friend Daniel Ellsberg is coming here, and Daniel Ellsberg wouldn't really...
Okay. I'm sorry, Max. Excuse me for inviting an American icon. The man who released the Pentagon Papers.
I'm kidding. I was just teasing. Please don't tell Daniel Ellsberg. Okay, speaking of that, I hope you've all told your students about the Ellsberg lecture. And I want to thank you, Andrea, for setting this up. Let's rush through this agenda, shall we? Professor Bitterman, may he rest in peace, is gone, and we have an open faculty position.
And 6 other departments plotting to steal that budget line from us.
Yeah, you got to get in there and fight for this one, Max.
Pete Leftridge in the English department keeps track of sick faculty members. I swear to God, to get an inside track on open budget lines if one of them dies.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have already stormed the beachheads, and the open budget line is ours.
Oh. Hail to the chief.
Good work.
Now, who is going to teach Professor Bitterman's military history class until we find a replacement?
Well, I really don't think I should be taking on any more stress right now.
I thought you were going to take it on.
You are best qualified.
Well, of course I'm best qualified. Take this.
Thanks, Max. I've got to go. I'm sorry. I told you. Right now. Thanks, Max.
only regret about the Pentagon Papers is that I didn't release the documents in my possession earlier, in 1964 or 1965. If I'd taken documents that were in my safe in the Pentagon then and given them to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee then, as I did 4 years later, the war might have been ended a lot sooner. It might even have been averted. Many, many lives would have been saved. That's a heavy burden to carry. Thank you.
Daniel Ellsberg shows us what courage it takes to have real convictions. Now, we don't have a lot of time, so please, with questions, be brief and brilliant.
Taylor Lattimore, first year. Mr. Ellsberg, how did you get up the nerve to do what you did?
Courage is contagious. It was meeting young Americans face to face who were on their way to prison rather than take part in a war that they knew and I knew was wrong.
Look at them, in total awe of living history.
How could I help him?
If someone had told me 30 years ago that I'd be standing next to Daniel Ellsberg.
I'll always be grateful to them for that.
Anna Neeson, third year. Mr. Ellsberg, how does a person who's been charged with theft, espionage, and conspiracy such as yourself think he has the right to lecture young people?
Thanks, Pat Buchanan's a liberal.
It was young people, your age, that really showed me the right thing to do in Vietnam. I didn't get it from a lecturer. They showed me by their example, and I'm happy to pass on that lesson to other people.
Mr. Ellsberg,
That's pretty smug. You think you're so great because you were this big whistleblower. I think what you did was disgusting. By speaking out against the war during such a sensitive time, you put our country in danger.
You don't think we should exercise our freedom of speech, our disagreement in times of crisis?
Freedom of speech is one thing, but what you did while our country was at war was unpatriotic.
Okay, Anna, I think we all know how you feel. So let's turn the floor over to someone else.
Wait, okay, it's fine. Ms. Neeson, do you think I was a better patriot in those earlier years when I was in the Pentagon or in Vietnam, when I was keeping my mouth shut while I knew Americans were being lied into war? Speaking your mind, as you're doing right now, telling the truth is patriotic. It's especially in times of crisis that we need our democracy most.
I don't buy that argument. As far as I'm concerned, I think they should have put you in jail.
Anna, you've crossed the line. Will you please sit down?
How have I crossed the line?
Will you please sit down?
You're just trying to shut me up. Because I'm not some ass-kissing, brainless liberal like everyone else in here. What's brainless is this college inviting this man to come and spew sedition. I mean, who's next? Clinton on responsible sex?
Oh, that's enough. This class is not about you. Either share the floor or leave.
You can't throw me out of my class.
It's my class.
Hypocrite.
Now, this is Bitterman's class, so it needs to be about war, preferably not Korea. I just want to, give them a different perspective.
Well, what are you trying to teach them?
I want to provoke them into some different responses about war.
Okay, I get it. So, like the Foo Fighters song, Up in Arms, uses a lot of war imagery in their music.
You know, a long, long time ago, before it was hip and cool to be violent, what was hip and cool was peace and love. Got to do some research into that ancient history.
Cool.
That's it.
Yeah. Now, wake up.
What?
I want you to meet my mother.
Hi, Nell. It's nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Sophie. You're right, she is darling.
Mom.
You came all the way from Cincinnati? Oh, sure. I wouldn't miss the mother-daughter weekend for anything.
That's this weekend?
Yeah. Oh, Mom's the original chatty. She loves the rah-rah stuff. She even brought me this great fringe poncho she wore at her mother-daughter banquet in 1975.
Groovy. So, you'll be staying here all weekend?
Oh, don't worry. Brenda won't let me stay here.
She wanted to bring a sleeping bag.
I have a room at the Strawberry Inn, but I just had to see Brenda's room. This was my house when I was at Chadwick. Is your mom coming now?
Mom.
My mother's dead.
Oh, my
I should have
God.
told you.
Oh,
I should have told her.
You guys,
I'm
hey,
sorry. I should
hey,
have
it's
told her.
okay. Don't worry about it. It was a long time ago anyway.
Come on, Mom. Let's get you a cab back into town. See ya now. I'm sorry.
You know, Nell, Brenda has signed us up for all these interesting seminars and programs this weekend. Why don't you join us?
No, thanks, Sophie. I've got to finish this Dreiser paper for Monday.
How can they call that an ending? Did he kill the right bad guy, or did he really kill his wife himself?
Lila, that's the whole point. He doesn't have a memory. Everything that passed the last 15 minutes is gone.
So we just sat for 2 hours for a 15-minute movie?
Apparently.
Well, I can think of a lot better ways to spend 2 hours.
Oh, yeah? Oh. Yeah.
Dr. Bigford? I'd like to go now, if it's all the same to you. Lester's upstairs, reading.
You still awake?
He's waiting for you.
Okay. Well, thanks for staying late, Mrs. Moncrief. I really appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Lila.
Oh, there's something rotten in the icebox, Professor. I couldn't track it down.
All right, well, we'll take care of it. Thanks. Good night, Mrs. Moncrief. Good night, Mrs. Moncrief. Night.
Well, I guess I better go.
Why?
Well, Lester's waiting for you.
Yeah. It's a school night.
Max, do your kids know that you're dating?
They know that I go out sometimes.
Do they know that you go out with me?
I haven't figured out the best time to tell them that, but I want to.
Well, no pressure. I was just wondering.
I'd offer to drive you home, but you drove your own car here, so.
Good night. I'm looking forward to remembering the 15 minutes that hasn't happened with us yet.
Just 15 minutes?
Public mourning in this past decade has developed a style and an iconography of its own. As our grief has increased to nearly universal proportions, we've responded in kind with public declarations of shock and sorrow. Americans have always grieved in interesting ways. Following Abraham Lincoln's assassination, Victorian death rituals were adopted in America, including the use of hairwork jewelry, which is what we have here. Now, hairwork jewelry grew out of a desire to keep a part of the loved one close to the wearer.
It's disgusting.
No, it's not.
Wearing a dead person's hair? It's whack.
Not if it belonged to somebody you loved. Listen, it is so light, so gentle, so escaping from the idea of death, that with a lock of hair belonging to a child or friend, we may almost look up to heaven and say, I have a piece of thee here.
Yeah, whatever.
You've never lost anyone close to you, so you don't know what it's like when someone just leaves.
Freckles died when I was 12, and I loved that dog. It doesn't make me want to have a bracelet made out of his tail. I'm sorry.
No, forget it.
You find a new job yet?
No. Because of the arrest, I have 50 hours of community service to do in the next 3 months.
Know what you're gonna do?
I think I'll go work at an orphanage.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'll get to all of you one at a time. Miss Neeson, isn't it?
That's a good trick.
That's just part of my job. How can I help?
I'd like to bring charges against Professor Andrea Haskell. Every chance she gets, she humiliates me. Like not being a liberal is a crime in her class. She's curtailing my freedom of expression.
Sounds like you expressed yourself quite vociferously.
Until she kicked me out of class. Since I pay tuition, isn't that a breach of contract as well as political harassment?
Professor Haskell asked you to sit down or to leave. Telling a student to sit down is not breach of anything.
You don't have to take me seriously. But if you don't, I will get a lawyer who will.
Lawyers. I should have been a lawyer.
I have documented evidence that Professor Haskell discriminates against me in her grading policy because my views don't fit her liberal dogma du jour.
Have you expressed your dissatisfaction to Professor Bickford?
Dr. Bryant, I've come to you because I assume that you, as a black woman, would be a little more sensitive to what it feels like to be a minority on campus.
I am taking you seriously, Miss Neeson. Show me your evidence.
Okay, garlic bread is hot, pasta is ready. Ristorante Bickford is open for business.
2 seconds, Dad.
No, not 2 seconds. Now, go wash your hands. Go, go.
I've got one last paragraph. Can't you call Nell first?
Is Nell here?
Yeah, she's upstairs in your closet.
What are you doing?
Where are they?
Where's what?
Mom's clothes. Where'd you put them?
Her clothes? Honey, they're gone.
Gone where?
I gave them away.
All of them. You gave all her clothes away. God, Dad. Those were my mother's things. What
Nell,
were you thinking?
Honey, there was no sense in keeping any of
But
that.
you should have asked me.
It was 5 years ago.
So she dies and you just get rid of everything that's hers?
Look, you have her photos. You have her books.
But nothing that she actually wore.
You never asked me for anything.
So you just threw them away.
Nell? Nell!
Nell left, huh? Guess you won't be staying for dinner. I read in my paper. Slammin'. You want to read it?
Not right now, Prez. Okay?
Makes perfect sense to me. She wants something of her mother's. I don't find that unreasonable.
She has things of her mother's. Lots of things. And Martha's clothes were good, usable clothing. She would have wanted a shelter to take care of
Max,
that.
you don't really know what Martha would have wanted.
Excuse me?
You were drinking, Max, a lot. Before Martha's accident and for a long time afterward.
What was I supposed to do? Keep the clothes forever? Huh? All of Martha's clothing hanging in the closet, her jeans, her sweaters. I couldn't stand it anymore. It hurt too much. So I packed them up, put them in boxes, put it in the garage, and eventually I called a shelter. Who knew that would cause such a problem?
We played Earth, Wind, and Fire records endlessly. We smoked clove cigarettes. We thought we were so cool.
Mom, I can't even imagine you smoking.
Oh, I'd hardly call it smoking. We just like the smell.
Friends, why don't you ever wear your hair pulled back?
Mom, I like it this way.
All right, but you have such a pretty face.
Let's forget about Korea for a while. All right? We've had enough of that. Thank you. I would like to talk to you today about another aspect of war. A human aspect. Listen to this. Last Monday, I went on my first hunter-killer operation. The frightening thing about it all is that it is so very easy to kill in war. You are scared, really scared, and there's no thinking about it. You kill because that little SOB is doing his best to kill you, and you desperately want to live, to go home, to get drunk, or walk down the street on a date again. And suddenly, the grenades are not going off anymore, the weapons stop, and unbelievably fast, it seems. It's all over, and you're alive because someone else is either dead or so anxious to stay alive that he's run away and you are the victor, if there is such a thing in war. Letter was written from a kid in Vietnam to a friend at home.
If hearing that war is this horrible nightmare made any difference, war would have ended eons ago. It's not exactly a secret.
I agree. Is there such a thing as a good war?
No.
Yes.
No.
It doesn't matter. I mean, men love war. They can find a reason if they have to.
Men as in males or men as in people?
I think people. Although you don't see many women starting wars.
That's because you're not looking hard enough.
Maybe we're just not that anxious to die for our country.
Well, maybe some of us are.
Men don't just fight for country. They fight for ideology. They fight for God. They fight for family. They fight for their buddies.
That's just what they tell the men, to get them to fight. That it's going to be this noble, bonding experience. Then after they die, nobody remembers them.
Well, you need to do something to get them to go. They're not crazy, but sometimes they have to go.
Well, there's another way to look at it.
Tell us.
Well, I'd rather sing it than tell it. Last night I had the strangest dream I'd ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. I dreamed I saw a mighty room, and the room was filled with men. And the paper they were signing said they'd never fight again.
Anna Newsom claims that she's being discriminated against.
That's a good one.
She's serious.
She says she's being discriminated against? Judith, that girl is a one-woman ad campaign for discrimination. She protests against women's rights. She protested against giving immigrants a fair shake. She is rabidly anti-affirmative action. She hasn't shown up to class in a white sheet yet.
The ACLU defended the right of the Klan to march in Skokie.
And I, too, would defend Anna Neesum's right to her opinions.
What about these?
Okay, these are some papers that she wrote for my class.
Where did you get this from? That's right-wing rhetoric, not argument. Oh, please, give me a break.
Okay.
You've got to be kidding.
Okay. So maybe I was a little bit intemperate in my comments, but I gave her an A-.
She says she would have gotten an A if not for your obvious bias.
Come on. I leaned over backwards trying to be fair.
I believe you.
Grading is subjective.
So is bias.
Meaning?
Nobody thinks they're biased.
I know I'm biased, and I deal with my bias. I'm sorry. I'll handle it. I'll talk to her. Nicely.
Okay, Professor, I'll consider it handled.
And now I've got to go talk to that girl. The thought of it makes my teeth hurt. I have never had a student like this before.
One that disagreed with you?
Now, look, I welcome disagreement. One who is so fundamentally frozen in place. I mean, why go to college if you think you already know everything?
So why do you think that she has it in for you?
Well, occasionally what she writes infuriates me.
And you let her know that?
Well, maybe I'm a little bit snide, but what's wrong with snide?
Nothing. I love snide.
You're the king of snide.
That's right.
And not only did Abraham Lincoln not even like black people, he was against them holding any public office or marrying white people. In his 1858 Charleston speech, Lincoln says that as long as blacks and whites live side by side, there must be the position of superior and inferior. You know what that means. The fact that Lincoln said these things, then turned right around and made up the Gettysburg Address, proves to me that not only was Abraham Lincoln not a hero of democracy and freedom, he was a liar. Lincoln was what my dad calls an opportunistic hypocrite. That means...
I know what that means. Thank you, Lester. That's enough. Sit down. Yes, Jamie?
Is that stuff Bickford said true?
No, I think Lester's just a little confused.
No, I'm not.
Okay, let's move along. Carly,
It is so true. It's in the books that my dad gave me. It says even more stuff. Did you know that Thomas Jefferson had babies with his slaves?
Oh, thank you, Lester. That's enough. That really...
But it's true.
Just sit down, please.
My dad knows more than you do. He's a history professor.
Oh.
You are lowering my son's grade because he stood up for what he believed in.
No, I'm lowering his grades because of his rudeness and disrespect. His beliefs are another matter. Or perhaps we should say your beliefs.
Ah, now I understand. Are you accusing me of doing his work for him?
Dr. Bickford, what I believe Mrs. Lynch is saying...
I can hear what she's saying.
Often when parents try to help, the child becomes confused.
Well, what confused him was this archaic comic book that you call a history text.
Dr. Bickford, that textbook is the standard for the
That
entire
textbook
state.
implies that Martin Luther King was a dangerous militant. It notes no Asian, Black, or Latino contributions to this country, and it makes an unmitigated hero out of George Armstrong Custer. Now, look. My son did all of the work on this paper, and that work deserves a decent grade. I am not gonna let him be punished because the school system is too weak to understand.
I have 27 fifth graders, Dr. Bickford. 27 kids watching the clock tick toward lunch. I teach them what I can using the materials I am given.
Well, that's no excuse for mediocrity.
Dr. Bickford, I believe that was uncalled for.
You teach that the founding of this country was some sort of sacred and inevitable event, led by saintly founders who truly believed in liberty and justice for all, when you know that the truth is far more interesting and far more complicated than that. These kids deserve a chance to develop clear and unbiased minds. I mean, what's wrong with learning to love this country, warts and all?
Dr. Bickford, have you read Lester's paper?
I read the first draft. I haven't read the rewrite.
Well, I'd like you to read it. And then we can talk further about clear, unbiased minds.
Fine. Fine. I'll do that.
Dad, did you tell him? Did you tell him I was right?
Lester, what exactly is it that you said about Lincoln?
I said what you told me, what the books you gave me said. You read my paper, didn't you?
Well, I wanted to.
You didn't read it?
I'm gonna read it right now. Where are you going?
I've got chess club.
All right, people, let's get going.
I think you're out of your mind, Rex, if you think we need another military historian.
Yeah, how many women at this college want to know if it was the Pershing or Grommel tank used in Korea?
All right,
Three,
people, let's
actually,
get going.
but they're all on the crew team.
You know what? That is a really stupid homophobic remark.
I'm kidding.
You're gonna get your ass sued one of these days, Howard.
Hey, I believe I was the one pushing to hire a female member of the faculty because there's only 2 women and 7 men.
Here we go.
Oh, what does that mean, here we go?
Oh, I am so sick of having this conversation. I mean, if a Puerto Rican lesbian in a wheelchair shows up, oh, for God's sake, hire her.
She can teach military history.
We need to come to a consensus. People,
We need a military historian. What we need.
Josh doesn't want competition for tenure.
That is so uncalled for.
You asked for it.
No, that is not fair. Why?
Before I dreamed that all the world agreed to put an end to war. Can we do our work now, please?
Hey, is my watch wrong again, or is it mealtime and a Bickford isn't eating?
Not hungry. Okay, I'm hiding out. I don't feel like hanging out with my roommate and her Twinkie mother. Spazzing about shopping in their ridiculous little seminars and what to wear to their idiotic mother-daughter banquet. The 2 of them are driving me nuts.
Your dad told me about your mom's clothes.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I don't even care anymore.
You don't?
My mother was a terrible dresser. She used to get all of her clothes out of the catalog. It wasn't like I was gonna wear any of them.
Well, that's not really the point, is it?
Then what is the point?
Why don't you tell me?
I don't have anything left of my mom that I can touch. He had no right to take that away from me. He should have asked.
Yep, he should have. I wonder what Martha'd say to all of this.
She would have yelled at Dad. She would have called him a fricasseed ass.
Yeah, your mom always did have a way with words, didn't she?
She had a way with everything. Except clothes.
I bet she'd even love going to that idiotic banquet with you.
Maybe.
Now, it'd be a way to honor her.
What, go with myself? The fricassee, no way.
It's just a suggestion, but it doesn't have to be your mom. You can honor your mother and force your dad into a new suit, and I think Martha would really dig that.
Yeah, I bet she would.
All right, maybe.
For all of my life, I believed that honest Abe Lincoln was the perfect president. And aside from my dad, Lincoln was the kind of man I thought I would like to be. I thought he was a man who had courage and strength, and he was not afraid to stand up for what he believed in, even if he was alone. I found out a few days ago that everything I thought about Lincoln was all wrong.
Oh, boy. Something began rumbling in Schuyler's gut, something with heavy footfalls and a stovepipe hat. Lincoln had said, truth is generally the best vindication against slander. What then should protect an innocent from the savagery of truth? Oh, boy.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, Anna, I did. Won't you come in? Anna, can we just talk like two human beings?
Oh, now that I'm a threat, I'm a human being? That's a principled reaction.
Anna, you're not a threat to me. You're a student to me. You are a student I am trying to teach.
Indoctrinate.
Teach.
Your idea of teaching is to hand out political propaganda, and we're supposed to parrot it back.
Okay. All right. In your view, what should I be doing?
Just giving us the facts and letting us draw our own conclusions.
Give me an example of a fact.
Okay. Daniel Ellsberg
is a traitor or a hero.
Released secret documents called the Pentagon Papers in 1971.
And the context in which he did this.
See, that's your liberal moral relativism. It's okay to spill state secrets under certain circumstances, if you say so.
You are an exasperating young girl, not because of your ideas, most of which I disagree with, but because you make yourself unteachable.
I'm unshakable in my beliefs.
You got that right, and I admit it. I would like to shake you.
I know.
No, you don't know. It is my job to introduce you to new ideas, not to simply confirm the ones that you have. If you end up in the same place...
You've failed.
Anna, if you are so determined to be unmovable, untouchable, unshakable, and unteachable, you're wasting your money and your time.
Professor Haskell, when was the last time you changed your mind about something?
I guess when I decided to change your grade.
Why?
On its merit. Perhaps your paper did deserve an A. Perhaps my aversion to your ideological stance got in the way. I'm really not sure, but in my efforts to be 100% fair, I give you the benefit of the doubt.
That's just perfect.
You're welcome.
It's perfect because you're a liberal who doesn't even have the courage of her convictions. You just wanted to get off the hook. At least Ellsberg stayed the course. I'm sorry, but I am not withdrawing my complaint about you.
And that's what you think courage is, Anna?
In the 1950s, CCNY had a basketball team. It was unparalleled. They were New York's Golden Sons. They were supermen. Any game they played, they won. And then one day, they started to lose. And it came out that they had accepted money to throw games. Everyone went crazy. They took money to lose. I heard that, my whole world was shattered.
I'm still not following you, Max.
Oh, Lila. I killed my son's hero. I killed Lester's Abraham Lincoln. Just like John Wilkes Booth, except he had a gun, I had a history book.
But what you told him about Lincoln is true.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In an academic sense, yes, of course, you're right, but it's
Dad.
not. Hey, Nell. Come on in.
I am in. I'm Lila Ortiz. From the diner. Yes.
Hungry?
No.
Got ravioli.
I think I'm going to use the restroom.
So you're not hungry. Did Lester call?
I have to have a reason to come over here now?
I didn't say that.
I actually did have a reason, but forget it. Does Lester know that she's here?
I am allowed to have guests in this house.
Then why are you sneaking them in?
I am not sneaking her in. Lila is my friend and my guest, and someone I care for the first time since your mother...
That's great, Dad. Just great. I'm happy for you.
What a piece of work man is, thought Schuyler, able to leap tall concepts in a single bound, capable of amazing acts of mental dexterity, and completely unable to do anything right as far as his kids are concerned.
What she does to me is wrong. She singles me out in class.
The matter has been addressed, and Professor Haskell has seen fit to change your grade.
Which only proves my
If you still want Professor Haskell's blood, you're not going to get it from me.
You're discriminating against me too, Dr. Bryant. I wouldn't think that a black woman could forget so easily.
You listen to me, little girl. I know more about discrimination than you'll ever know in your lifetime. What I also know is how to survive it. Now, if you truly believe in the politics that you spout, then you best find a better way to express them. Something other than throwing classroom tantrums and threatening professors, because I can tell you right now, that is not the way to get heard. You're smart. You can do better than that, Anna. You don't have to blame everyone on this campus because you're a minority here. Now, if you want some advice on how to get your point of view across when you're in the minority, I'd be happy to lend you the benefit of my considerable experience.
Keep it.
Of course. The single regret I have in my life is that I never had a daughter of my own. Perhaps this is what bonds me to all of you. I have learned from you all that this essential bond called motherhood is not easily defined, but gathers its strength from being constantly reinvented. It is that spirit of renewal, reinvention, and tradition that we honor here tonight.
Hey, you want to shoot some hoops?
No,
Let's talk about Abraham Lincoln.
I don't want to.
Well, I do. You know, in spite of what I said, Abraham Lincoln's a pretty great man.
Dad,
Hey, you know what a great man is?
you're gonna tell me, right?
Yes, I am. Sometimes a great man can make an enormous mistake, but because he's a great man, he usually makes those mistakes in public.
That doesn't sound very great to me.
That's because it doesn't end there. The difference between a regular guy and a great man is that a great man will keep on trying to do what's right, no matter how hard, even if it means admitting that he's wrong. A great man rises to the occasion.
And Lincoln was like that?
Well, Lincoln wanted, above everything else, to save the Union. This was something he thought was worth fighting a war for. He thought it was worth dying for. So in the end, what he did was a really great thing. Now, you can say, I guess, that Lincoln was a hero. Who can tell me what a hero is? Yeah.
A hero is someone who does something worthwhile for other people, maybe even sacrificing their own life.
Excellent. What else?
A hero is somebody you admire and want to be like.
Great. Who do you want to be like?
My mom. She's a firefighter. Or I'd like to be an Olsen twin.
Okay. All right, what?
I want to be like Shaq.
Does everybody have to agree on what a hero is?
I don't think the Olsen twins are heroes.
Yeah, I have a little trouble with that myself. All right, let's see if we can find some more names of people who are heroes, aside, of course, from Mrs. Lynch.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
George Washington?
George Washington.
Mahatma Gandhi?
Mahatma Gandhi. Who else?
Thomas Edison?
Yeah? Schuyler had never been anyone's hero except in his own imagination. But he remembered that Abraham Lincoln had once said something about the better angels of our nature. And looking at his son's face, that's exactly what he felt like. Hi.
Hi.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Don't worry about it, Dad. Just drop it. It's over.
If I could change the past, I would.
So you're dating now, huh?
Yeah? Little?
You like her a lot?
I think so.
I guess you must get pretty lonely sometimes. I know I do.
You know, 20 years ago, on a sunny Sunday afternoon in Soho, your mother picked this out for me. It was raining. She was beautiful. And we thought that we would be together forever. She would have wanted me to give you this.
You're a fricasseed ass, you know?
I know.